Hi everyone, welcome to the Fashion Experiment. It's Dr. Bridget, your professor of all things fashion. And today I'm back for a discussion about colors, graphics, and prints for spring and summer 2022. And you'll find that there are lots of classic prints and patterns that will be trending this spring, summer, and some, variations to make old classic looks fresh and new and modern again. And that's what all the trends have been about. Pulling on classic styles and making them fresh and exciting. And that's what we're going to find with colors, graphics, and prints. So our trend data is always from our forecasting company, WGSN, and they engage in thorough research, assessing what is popular for the season based on the collections and product lines and designs from various designers from all over the globe, all right? So this slide just highlights the popular print and pattern mix for, again, spring, summer 22. All right, so I have a graphic up top here that just points out the fact that plain prints, like I said, classic prints and patterns, so just simple, 2 or 3 color mix prints is very high this year. And that's consistent with what is trending for all of 21 and 22. And then you see all over prints and then placement prints. All over is self-explanatory. And then placement prints and patterns are designs where an individual pattern is just in specific areas, okay, not all over. All right, and then specifically honing in on key prints, you see the Ombre Tie-Dye, which has been trending, which was relevant in all the way back in 2000. We're still going to see it in 2020, again, in different variations. Florals is always relevant. That's a classic print that's very versatile. So we will see for 22, florals being represented in lots of different ways. And then the placement graphics that I talked about. Placement graphics also, logo graphics also falls into the category of placement graphics, and that's what's relevant for the season. Painterly painted, also relevant, just like that. Really like organic, natural, like it says, painterly, like a brush stroke or a handwritten, hand-drawn type of image is what you're going to see. And then butterflies. And the butterflies trend is something that carries over from youth and children's wear as well into women's and men's. All right. And then colors. So I did a video, you got to check out my channel for my color trends video, where I just talk about how colors are forecasted. You'll get some really good insight into that. So for our spring summer season, again, look at the graphic at the top. What's the biggest trend? Classic black and white. So again, the idea of pulling, again, from our classics, from our tried and true styles and designs, patterns and prints, we see here that black and white is heavily built into our spring summer with splashes of all different colors. And I can't remember the exact name of it, but this like deep fuchsia, pinkish, purplish, pastelish color was the color for the year. And you're going to see lots of pastel colors. The pastels was very popular. last year in 21, and it's still relevant this year. And then you're also going to see lots of vibrant, bright colors, just vibrant, bright colors mixed in with black and white neutrals, which is great, right? Oh, here we go. So our 2020 color forecast, the color for the year was this orchid pink. That was the color for the year. And here you'll see all the standout colors. So you see the bright, you see the pastel, and you see the black and white. And this is kind of like the palette. And again, colors are not randomly selected. It's based on what we see most it's based on what we see used most over all the runways, okay, by designers, manufacturers, all right? Yeah, so that's it. There are lots of different points to highlight. I can highlight, but really I'm not gonna highlight that. I wanna focus on prints and patterns. If you want a deep understanding of colors, go to my channel and check out the color forecasting video so you can get it, because I did a whole video on the forecasted colors for 2022 and how they evolved, because it's not just a color for 2022. It builds from one year to the next. And I started all the way back with 2015, 2016, when we chose 2 colors for the year, and the relevance of that and how it relates from that year moving forward. So really to get a clear understanding of why the colors are forecasted, how they're forecasted, watch that video, all right? So let's focus on prints and patterns. Here again is the orchid flower. I just wanna highlight the variations of the color, okay? So it goes from pastel into a deeper magenta fuchsia shade. All right, so again, it's the standout color, and it encompasses both of the overarching color trends. So the pastel category and the brights category. So you're really going to see pink, fuchsia, magenta, heavily used within the prints and patterns and as standalone solid colors throughout spring, summer. Yeah. So here we go, bright basics. So gonna see our bright colors incorporated into prints and patterns that are classic. So classic stripe, classic checkered pattern prints, and that's what you see. And it's really cool, right? Stripes are easy to incorporate into your wardrobe, as well as a check print. And it's fun to add a pop of color and a classic basic pattern and print that's easy to wear. And then here, this slide highlights the florals prints and it's several different variations of florals for spring, summer. There were 2 things that I noticed, like the vintage retro pattern. So like floral patterns and their small prints. But yeah, the best word to describe it is what I just said, a vintage retro inspired floral print that really just puts you in mind of like a prairie, outdoors, farm type inspiration. And that was heavily used throughout the season, and lots of different designers were inspired by those prints and patterns. And then the flip side of that was the different scale of the size of the print. So really, really small, which is what you see with the Into the Garden trend. And then the garden pigments here on the right, you see that the actual image of the floral print is larger. And then it just grew even larger here with the floral burst trend. It's brighter, more dominant, more visible, larger. And the floral print I'll add is relevant for both menswear and women's wear. Again, a theme that you will continue to see used from here on out. Whatever trends are forecasted for menswear and women's wear, it will be forecasted together the same way and kind of, applied in the same manner for all consumers, regardless of gender. All right. So that's florals. And then here's our retro resort. So kind of geometric graphic prints being used that's really giving you a throwback to the 70s. And there were lots of different forecasts. I just took ones that I knew would be popular, that I'm already seen and have seen. And I also highlighted the ones where there was a clear overlap with menswear and women's wear and classics, like the prints and patterns that we're all familiar with, that we see constantly over and over again, the stripes, the florals, checker prints, logo designs that we've seen over and over again, to show you how they're being reinterpreted and freshened up, for the coming season. Graphic skins. So again, this is the one that we've seen over and over again. I mean, you could categorize it as your classic animal prints, but again, it's getting a modern twist, reinterpreting it in a different way. So if you look at the this green suit, shorts and blazer from Christian Dior, you can see that they overlapped two prints. So there's a diagonal stripes with kind of the animal print on top. Okay, so that's a different interpretation. And then different colors, that you wouldn't typically see used with an animal print, also is what is represented here and what I've seen, right? With the zebra print and the typical tiger print, different color variations of it to give it a modern twist. And then what they're calling, WGSN is calling soft focus, is again our ombre, and where we see the blurring of colors together. And here in some of these designers, they use floral prints and ombre together. So mixing two classic prints, two classic pattern designs together again. And digitized, the digital printing is also highlighted. So that's basically a technique, like as a normal consumer, who may not have any, insight into how fabric is made or even clothing is made, you might not know that patterns and prints can be digitally printed onto the fabric. And that was highlighted heavily throughout the forecast, the facts or the use of digital textile printing. All right. Optical patterns. So again, a play on stripes. So, I mean, of course, it's not a stripe. A stripe is a solid line. Optical pattern is a curved line, it's a curved line, shapely line, a line with some movement and shape. So that's exciting, something different. Again, a fresh take on a stripe-like print with a curve to it. And pop punk, the pop punk inspiration or pop punk inspired prints and patterns really speaks to the use of the logo design and or the placed pattern. So, and I think the best way to think of it is just a logo. Okay, so like as you can see in the examples, it's just placed in the center of the shirt typically, or can be placed asymmetrical to the side or just on the back. It's placed, and then it's inspired by punk, which is also connected to our 90s inspiration, which is resurging. So that is why you're going to see more use of logo placement, because that was a big logo placement, very popular in the 90s. All right, so I'm going to talk some more about graphics and trends. There are lots of patterns graphics and prints, I'm just mixing it all together, that will be trending. So like the use of a logo with a pattern together. So, and in my review of the trends, I noticed like things were very colorful, you know, depending on, you know, your taste level, you might be, oh, that's too much. But I really liked it. And I like it because we haven't seen, you know, a mashup of a, a printed shirt. Just think in your mind, a t-shirt that's fully printed and then a logo design on top of it. You see that typically with children's wear because kids wear is more playful, you know, more bright and vibrant. So this season we see, you know, adult trends really taking a page out of the book for kids and youth because you see that with kids stuff all the time. So that's why I liked it. It's very refreshing. And then the theme hashtag that WGSN used is joyful expression. And I thought that was great too. Yeah, because, you know, bright colors are vibrant. It can bring some light into your life, some joy into your life, just seeing bright colors or fun patterns and prints. And that's what we're going to see. So first I'm starting off simple. Just, again, the logo, the resurgence of the logo, and not just, you know, a t-shirt with a message on it, but like bold statement logo, products, garments, coats, sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts, things like that. That's what's gonna be relevant. That's what you're gonna see this spring, summer. It's gonna carry over absolutely into fall, winter. So bold, think big, bold logo, images and messaging on apparel. All right. And then here's one joyful expression graphic, teddy bears. So teddy bears, again, is nothing new. Teddy bears were everywhere and everything for Ralph Lauren's polo collection. Again, back in the 90s, it was popularized back then, and it is experiencing a resurgence. All right. So Google, you know, if you didn't know, like high-end designer use of teddy bear logos. Okay, you see the Gucci example here. I have a Ralph Lauren comforter that I bought when I was in college that has the logo teddy bears all over it, and I still have it today. So it was a great trend back then, and it is reintroducing itself again today. So teddy bears everywhere. And remember, I already shared with you butterflies is trending also. So lots of butterflies. And then we have cosmic stars, wizards and witches. So this is inspired by, again, the punk era and the grunge era of the 90s. I mean, that's, yeah, like I said, what it's inspired by. It's taken on its own life and been modernized for today, but that's where it's rooted. All right. And we've seen star patterns and prints. I have seen it, but just know that it's even more relevant now. So you're going to see more of it. And then what WGSN is calling the book club. And I just think this speaks to the resurgence of the prep era. So just trying to mix, again, what was relevant with the rugbies and that whole preppy style with books and school and education, right? Can't be preppy without some knowledge. You got to go to school to get some knowledge. So that's what it's inspired by. And then hiking. The data that WGSN shares talked about the big boom in outdoors and, you know, consumers wanting to be outdoors and engage with their surroundings and their environment. And that's what sparked the logos and graphics and prints related to outdoors, being outdoors. But again, it wasn't like you couldn't find products that spoke to being outdoors. but it's just the fact that it's trending now. So you're going to see even more of it, even more. All right. And that brings me to the end of our discussion on colors, prints, and pattern trends for spring, summer 2022. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Make sure you come back for more. Bye.